It is time to experience a different radio station in digital broadcasting WKIT. Pyramid One World Radio Network with broadcaster Bob Charles. Our programming is based on truth, faith, and love. We have studios in Florida, Texas, and Australia. So let's begin into subjects that change our perceptions about the world around you and I.
Humanity's show on Pyramid One World Radio is going to change the world we view. A View of Humanity on Pyramid One World Radio is a powerful platform to inspire meaningful change in the way we view the world. With thought-provoking discussions, diverse perspectives, and an emphasis on humanity's shared values, your show has the potential to open hearts and minds. You are paving the way for a better, more united world by encouraging truth, love, and trust. Keep making waves. Let Jamie Clark and Bob Charles guide you on a journey of enlightenment and self-discovery. Together, they bring fresh spiritual insights and transformative human experiences to light. Tune in to A View of Humanity on Pyramid One World Radio, where inspiration meets truth and awaken new feelings that uplift your spirit and enrich your life. On Jamie's show, he will give everyone who calls into the show by dialing 60966-30153 with a question of free spiritual reading for the new year. Don't miss this incredible opportunity to connect with Jamie as he taps into his extraordinary psychic abilities to bring clarity, insight, and spiritual guidance to your life. Tune in to Pyramid One World Radio for this transformative experience. How is our soul changing in the new year ahead of us? Listen carefully. As we move into the new year, our souls are undergoing profound shifts, reflecting the collective evolution of humanity. Here are a few ways our souls may be changing. Awakening to higher consciousness. Many are experiencing a deeper connection to their true selves and the universe, leading to a greater awareness of purpose and interconnectedness. Releasing old patterns. The new year brings opportunities to let go of limiting beliefs and habits, allowing space for growth, healing, and renewal. Strengthening intuition. With heightened spiritual energy, intuition becomes sharper, guiding us toward choices that align with our higher good. Embracing love and compassion. A shift toward unity and empathy is helping souls transcend divisions and focus on love as the ultimate path. Manifesting new realities. As individuals embrace their creative power, their souls shape a brighter, more aligned future. Your journey is uniquely yours, but this collective transformation is a sign of our incredible potential. The new year is a canvas, and your soul is the artist. Now put your hands together and welcome a worldwide special show, A View of Humanity.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The synchronicity of life. You know, you have enough of those synchronistic alignments, it moves from, wow, lucky and coincidence to precision on the universe's part. Mm-hmm. And today worked out beautifully because Maggie did have an appointment that was able to be adjusted. So she's able to be here and going to work her magic with you, Bob. You know, I think the ability, many different tools to read energy. And in this case, they don't always have to be sitting physically in front of you. With the way Maggie does this, she infuses your soul print of energy onto the cards while she's shuffling and then reads them. All I do is tap in at a distance because not everyone's in front of me, but I'll pick up the energy and information. And a lot of times people's characteristics and qualities of people they're connected with through their energy field. It's all energy to me.
Let me just remind everybody of something. Now, anyone who wants to get in touch with this show and talk to us and talk to Jamie and Maggie, right to their face, just about. You can do that by dialing 609-663-0153. Now, there's another way to do this. Everybody's sitting with their heads looking down. See? So, this is what we can do. You can text us right in by dialing 863-222-4199. Now, say that one doesn't get you going. Okie dokie. We got a chat room for those people who are like over 50 and still in the chat room. Okay. Like me. What do I do over there? Anyway, for those kind of people, that all you have to do is go in, put in Pyramid One Radio or Pyramid One Radio Network into Google, and you scroll down and you'll see Pyramid One Network, and you'll see Wix, WIX. Where you see that, click on that, go right into the website, scroll down, and there's the chat room. It's open right now. I'm looking at it. So if you have a question, tell me. That's all you got to do. Isn't that easy? Either that or go in the backyard and throw a paper plane, and maybe it'll get here.
Send the pigeons. That's but the technology in this case is bringing the entire world together. And what's crazy, is the technology that's bringing the world together is actually separating us as well. Because, I share the fact that a few years ago, they had the Pokemon. Yeah, the Pokemon thing where you had on the phones and GPS, and and they'd go to the stores. Well, I went up to, when I was down in Phoenix, up to a mall, and it was freaking weird because, all the game things were happening, but nobody was looking at anyone else. They were all walking around with their phones.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's just a whole shift. Plus the new realities that are being put on, AI and that kind of stuff.
Oh, we were out the other day, and I took a picture of 4 people standing like in a little circle kind of thing. And they were all on their texting.
Talking to each other.
Wait a minute. Talk about making an idiot out of myself. I'm like 10 feet away, right? And I said, "Hey, did you text to the guy on the end?" I'm serious. I mean, it was so. I told you I saw somebody at Thanksgiving in a restaurant, big restaurant, big table. One guy texted the guy on the other side to pass the gravy. I mean, I was watching. I was standing right there, right in the middle, looking straight at them, doing it.
It's that separation that has affected so many people, And I share the fact that when my boys were younger, I let them know if they are standing in front of you, you talk with them, not just to them, and you do not bring that phone out unless you're going to use it. Instead of, my thing is, with the texting, it's convenient, but it's also you're on the other end of the phone texting. What? Hello, McFly. Just give a call.
Oh, seriously, yeah.
But it's that separation, that distancing with the COVID as well, that for some reason they lost their people skills. And I used to think, they would come through with the masks on, and I'm like, you can't even acknowledge hello. It was just a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah, but they're still doing it. They're still doing it. Jamie, I'm telling you, man, I see people. Now, we're in Florida, okay? It's like right now, and that's kind of cool because you got, 2 weeks of winter or whatever. Something stupid like that. So it's like 50 degrees out there. Oh, my God, I'm cold. But the idea of the thing is, like, when you see these people walking by or rolling by in their cars with masks on, I'm telling you, that knocks me for a loop. I mean, it's like, why? First of all, they didn't work in the first place. And that was 2 years ago. So, and it's still not working, but they're still I asked this one woman, I said, was it glued there? I said, permanently? And the woman was like, huh?
What?
I forgot. Well, I forgot to text to her. So, but it was. I'm serious. I mean, it's crazy. And what you do, like you just heard what we did.
Nicely done.
That's the. Well, you could call it an energy in a way, because I was kind of drawn to a couple of things there. But the idea was there were many, many things that you have said in the last, 16 years, 15 years?
Gosh, time flies. What, man?
It's like, if you go into the archive and you click on some of the shows, we said some pretty strange things.
Yes, and
and all apply, believe it or not, as far back as I could go, all apply. I was looking for things that apply to today, to right now, in the now. I mean, we were telling people or prophesizing all the way back then about right now and didn't even know it.
yeah, isn't it crazy? All you have to do is, here's the information. Hey, you know what? Here's what I'm getting. Not always a time frame. And, I think you bring up an interesting point of, with that long length of time, and then it finally happens. The Simpsons, I've seen that apparently there's a lot of shows that were made many, many years ago, but that they're all coming through now. Like the exact positioning of people and, dynamics. And I just saw one today where they were in, I guess, the cartoon aspect, but they were showing drones in the sky with major changes coming. It's like, oh, yes. And a lot of people are feeling that energy. They may not understand it, but they're feeling that alignment of potential.
Look at the drones who what, a day or two ago, and that took a plane out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
In California, one of the planes that were putting down the water and that or whatever else, they had to land a plane and it couldn't go up again because the drone hit it.
Oh, wow.
Now let's put it this way: if you're flying in a plane, all right, that drone had to come from somewhere that the pilot couldn't see, because the pilot, the engineer that's on there, and the co-pilot have, it's like almost 360. That's how far back the windows go. So you can see a lot because you have to, because you're riding around with 14,000 pounds of water in you, something like that. So, all right, so you're flying around that, you can't make any mistakes or anything else, and all of a sudden you get whacked by a come on. I mean, give me half a break here. What, there weren't aliens.
However, it could be just an acclimation to seeing a bunch of lights in the sky, because when they're kind of hanging around and there's no response, people are going to get a little bit uncertain about the connection. And I would say, to me, life is relative. We as humans are extraterrestrials to everyone else. It's a very relative term. But now it coming into this planet a little bit more consciously so that the public starts feeding what's being shown, then it kind of takes on a life of its own. And just sometimes, they know how to work with the conscious and subconscious aspects of humans.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to make a comment on anything we're saying on this show, write to Bob Charles Show at live.com, because I will write back to you and I will send you a copy of this show. And then if you have any questions about it, hey, let's talk, And we got that other show, by the way, my other show. And that the thing, the Talk Now.
Congratulations, fantastic.
Yep, it's kind of creepy, but you got to do things. I mean, you got to be up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I'm up anyway at 3 o'clock in the morning, but still, I mean, if you're going to talk to around the world, you got to watch the time zones.
Yes. Yep.
Some of them even skip a day, so it's like you really have to, get in there. And I just got a call from Spain.
Oh, cool.
I don't know whether they left a message or not, but. So, I mean, people are actually listening to these things. So, seriously, I mean, we're normal humans like you are out there. Not the guy that's on CBS, NBC, ABC, and all the rest of them that are up there, but minus Newsmax, which is the only ones that are close to what we are. They're human too. And nobody paid us to say that, by the way. Not even a Democrat. But the idea. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's the joke that's all over the net, all over the TV, and everything else. Then, so you can be a little more open about it. What are they going to do? They're going to come over here and slash my tires? Please, give me a break.
That's nothing compared to what they can do.
I'm being nice. My son was never in the FBI.
Yeah. So you have an idea of a little bit of what goes on. Now, up an interesting point for me, reading energy in many different avenues. I'll be able to pick up qualities and characteristics of somebody that the person that I can't see at a distance is wanting to hear about. My thing is there are a lot of organizations and groups that use our abilities. That person is connected to these people. So you start to read the energy of interconnectedness. And a lot of times we're pretty accurate. That person would be connecting to whoever the one is that we were targeting in this case. And usually we'd have that person line up to where we saw them in as we perceive it, the future. As a psychic, all I am is just a quantum road sign of potential. So I say in that quantum physics, right? All experiences are existing now. All potential outcomes are existing now. Our soul print is connected to each and every one of those alternate realities and outcomes. And in doing that, to me, what brings it from that quantum level of all experiences is our focused thought. What we think about and our attention to those thoughts creates a vibrational match that will bring up that particular experience from the quantum level, and bip, you'll live it. And then it's like, well, how are you doing that? So I just like to share it.
You want to freak somebody out? Just tell them, hey, listen, past, future is now.
It is.
And they'll go, what? Past, future is now. They go, what? I said, well, you just heard me say it now, and I said it before. So there's your past, your future, and it's now, right? they're like, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, humanity is. I tell you something. I give them a lot of points. Look, in this business, doing what we do, okay, you see more facets of the people that are around you. You understand them a little bit, and you kind of sort of try to understand them. It's like a two-way street in a way, because sometimes you can't understand anybody. But I'm serious. But the other way around. All right, I'll give you for instance. We were talking. Somebody said something about love, in the thing, and I said to them, I said, get onto this show. I gave them a show, and I said, listen to the show and that when you go home or something, and come back and tell me whatever you want to. We wound it up in a 45-minute conversation because of what I said on the show. And they said, really? You said that? And I was like, what? Something I'm wearing or something? Maybe it's my cologne or something? What's going on here? So they said, well, how can you understand it like that? I said, when you're around the block a couple times, you do understand it, and you do know what it is. It is. It's not a thing. It's not a spiritual cloud that's over your head. It's a real thing, a real connection. It's real energy. It's like taking a magnet and putting the two ends together. Oh, look, they stick. Oh, my God. It's one of those things that we're like, people, good energy attracts. Yes. And this is something that it's like in one ear and out the other ear. I'm like, guys, listen to me.
But all you can do is share the insight. It's up to them. It's not like they're ignorant. Hey, here's just one way of this experience that we're seeing. So, just something to think about. That way they don't feel like it's being pushed on them, but shared. And that's a little bit more open to go, what's that stuff you talking about? That spiritual stuff? And I'm like, yeah, whatever you want to call it. It's just a label. Doesn't really matter. And they're like, we're pretty easy going. I'm like, well, because I am. That's the way it is.
Too many people today look at a card in a card store that says love, and they go, "Oh, that's love." If I give this card, it's love. I said, "Well, got a hand? Got 5 fingers?" I said, "Okay, you knocked out one. What are you going to do with the other 4?" Okay, card. What are you going to do with the other 4, huh? Well, what's this one going to do? You're going to mop the floor? This one over here got to wash the car. This one over here got to walk the dog. I said, what are you going to, what's your love? How do you define love? They say, well, it's like, ooh, baby, I got them.
But see, that's great when they can start to think for themselves to go, I'm not really sure what that love vibe thing is.
Exactly.
But love is also a feeling. Love is something that you don't deny when you feel it, because it touches your soul, it touches your heart. And you just accept it as a truth. Like whether it's a love for yourself or another person or a moment in time, there are things that trigger something that is unexplainable. You can't explain it. why you feel that way, why you think that way, why you're like, well, I might slightly obsessed with love right now because of this vibration. Yet there is something that I do believe that there are feelings that are unexplainable by logic. They're unexplainable by the left side or the masculine side of the brain. Like there are certain things that you feel in your heart that you know is a love vibration, and encourage people to feel that. You know, even though you can't say what love is, you can't describe what love is. Is it an action? Is it a gifting? Is it a appreciation? Is it an expression? It could be all or any of those things, but it is a feeling. And that feeling is very rich and very beautiful and very profound. And I feel like we do need to take those moments to appreciate the love that we feel, even if we don't understand it. But remember, love doesn't have expectations. It doesn't have a price tag. It doesn't have an expression. It has to look like this. It's just a feeling.
And it's a big word with dozens and dozens and dozens of definitions.
Yes.
Right. And that's the thing.
I was going to give you one. All right. Someone asked me something about like, could you show me or tell me something, like, about love or something like that. And I said that, first of all, that what's going through my mind, I'm telling you, I had to wash my ear out with soap. But the thing was, I turned around, I said, well, if you're going in a place and someone is coming in behind you, and you hold the door, what would you call it? So he turns around, he goes, holding the door. I said, you dope. It's not holding the door. I said, you love to be the person to make that person happy so they don't have to hold the door.
And isn't that the interesting thing, that love has so many different facets to it? That's why I share, the love for our fur babies, our animals, that there are things we're not going to give them because we love them and we don't want them to get hurt or die or whatever the case is. Isn't it weird that love has such versatility? It is just the way that you connect with it. Because, I share that when I've had my own experiences and I unify with the oneness, it is like the best mood you've ever been in, the best meal you have ever had. My soul truly feels full, and love everywhere. It allows all things to be. And in our own way, if we can connect with that love vibe in whatever way we're able to kind of bring it into our life experience, all right, then I've got something to reference. Otherwise, how am I supposed to know what that love thing is? And my thing is, well, have you ever seen a newborn baby? Have you ever seen, you pretty much accept them for who they are. You don't go, you should be running as soon as they get out. You love them. You allow them to grow into who it is that they are with the potential. All we can do is guide them the best that we can with our awareness, with love and compassion.
And, really, seriously, I mean, this show, your show, has really, really, really made a lot of people ask a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
And I don't mind it because I love it. I mean, let's face it, we've lived this show together for a long time, and a lot of the stuff in it that we do, people don't get it. When I take something off or we're done with this show, of course it gets downloaded and the whole 9 yards and everything else. I go through the show again, and then I put it into the archive, and then I go back. Sometimes I play it in the car. Because I can play it on the car, right? You just take your cell phone, you put it in your email, and bing, I listen to the whole thing. Again, eventually, some of what we said sinks in, and it's like, oh, wow, that's connected to this, and that's why a lot of these pre-shows and everything else in that, I mean, they're just, a slam together of so many ideas we had and so many good things that we said that people haven't heard in a long time. So it's about time to take them out of the closet and, start closet? No.
Start dressing up for the day, man.
Yeah, right. And let people start hearing the truth, which a lot of people are not used to hearing somebody turn around and say, hey, you screwed up. Try this. And I mean, and you feel, you see people and you feel people and they're screwed up because it's just the way that they talk or the way they talk.
Channels are tuned into. That way we can communicate and talk with them, not just to them. And again, not everyone's tuned into the same channel. Yeah. It's the versatility. oh, you're tuning into that particular channel. You know what? I'll connect with you on that channel because that's how you're viewing things and you're connecting with them. No problem.
Yeah.
Here we go. And that's when they start to feel more understood. And okay, I'm not just a number or a product or a service. And I'm like, right, just do you. And when they give themselves permission to just be them and honor themselves without thinking that they have to negate everyone else in order to honor themselves, then they start to be a little bit more open to share some of that love and compassion and empowerment with others without too much fear of losing themselves to the relationship. They begin to find themselves within it, kind of thing.
Mag, see now
Yeah.
all the stuff that you do. I mean, like him and I can lip about this stuff all we want to in it, but you get it from another place. Maybe not the same place, but the same idea, kind of, sort of. But you kind of span out a little more. I mean,
a similar place, yeah.
I mean, I should send you a picture one time, and if I can find the dang thing. There was a woman one time when I was with Kinetic Hi-Fi Radio. That's where Jamie and I started, actually. And there was a woman that literally came into the studio and did tarot right next to me where we were. And I actually saw what was going on. And people did call in and they said, well, what if it's this, that, and the other? So then we had to get what's the camera so we could put it down on the cards and everything else. It was funny. But, people are very, very interested in that. And some of them are standoffishy. I tell people that I meet, during the day, you should call in because, like Jamie's here and you can have a reading and you can ask a question and maybe get an answer that is the truth. That's not somebody just telling you, oh, well, yeah, okay, it's cloudy out. Yep, there's clouds up there. It's not one of those kind of things. I said, this is like real stuff. This is the kind of thing that people go out of their way to find out,
And when they're opened up to this avenue, and sometimes they just need a different way of seeing things, not better or worse, but different. And a lot of times from that different perspective, it's like, I've heard that crap 1,000 times, but click, that's the first time I kind of see it that way. And I'm like, good, you question everything and let me know how it goes. And as I always share the fact that they usually come back going, I did it. And I'm like, freaking A, congratulations. And what else do you want to do? Because if the approach ain't broke, don't fix it. And a lot of them are like,
yeah.
But, it's that type that, again, the good thing is being in the moment, but allowing yourself to experience with more of the feelings of the soul. Because a lot of people tend to, for me, I'm not a doctor or a scientist, but the average person tends to think that feelings and emotions are the same thing. Mm. And I share that to me, they're not. To me, emotions are happy and sad. Feelings are grasping emotional states of consciousness, upcoming events, potentials. That is, because I always say when somebody says this, they usually say it like this: I feel happy, or I feel angry. They don't go, I have you happy. It's an acknowledgement, a description, a grasping of an awareness and different ways, sometimes seeing things.
And that's where you turn around and say, you're really happy or just happy?
And that's the point. We gear this communication in a way that they get their own realization, that they're like, okay.
That's where it's profound. When people receive their own realizations of connection, that's the profound moments that can shift the paradigm. When we think about people that are nervous about the tarot, uncertain about it, because obviously there's a lot of religious cultures that think it's taboo. They think it's, they label it all kinds of crazy things. But when you are speaking to someone's soul, when you are addressing a vibration of energy that they haven't expressed, because they might not even have the words to express it, yet they're feeling it inside of them. And then you come out and you say, well, this is the vibration that's here on the table. And they're like, whoa, like, how did you know that? And it's like, I didn't know it. The card knew it, like, this is the energy that's speaking to me that knows these things. It takes people out of the normal paradigm of, it has to be scientific, because we live in a culture that is very scientifically oriented, has to be proven. nothing of this can be proven. Like literally, this is a perception of an energy signature, and that's it, you know, so you're relaying an information of an energy. And when you can deliver that in a way that it connects with how they actually feel, because it is about the feelings, Jimmy, you're 100% accurate.
Right.
Feelings are the language of the soul. If you can tell them, hey, I'm feeling this. This is what I'm feeling around this situation. And it connects with what they're feeling. That's when you bridge. You're bridging consciousness.
That's when they feel more understood.
You're bridging a gap. You're bridging consciousness. You're bridging connection. And then they're going to be more open in the future going forward. And it has nothing to do with the identity of the card or anything else. It's the energy that's behind it that speaks through the card itself.
But I've got to say, the way that you share it, as I've shared it with many other people, is the way you described those cards of what I was seeing, that before she was sharing her perspective, I was a little uneasy with the devil and the hangman and all that kind of stuff. Until she was able, which I was like, okay, whatever kind of thing. And it made sense. I lost my fear of seeing that with the devil aspect. It's where you're giving your power away, you know, and many other aspects. The hangman is seeing things differently from a different viewpoint type of thing. And so it gave me an opportunity to not be fearful, to go, oh, what's this going to be? One of those things? Great. It's, hey, she's genuine. She's not making stuff up. All she's having to do is read the cards of information.
It gives a sense of neutrality, which is really nice for people who are reading energy or even new to the psychic arena or accepting a new view of humanity. It's like this will give you a view of humanity or a perception based upon a lot of esoteric wisdom. Like there's a lot that goes into the culmination of the work of a tarot deck. It is not just pretty pictures on 78 cards. It's esoteric wisdom that people in the late 1800s, the early 1900s, they went to Egypt, they went to Europe, they went to historical places that they were called to study. And they researched and they understood more information and they put it all together and said, what if we were to put a compilation of all the historical works of psychic information, how to access that, how to appreciate that, how to understand how the universe works in an energetic verbiage. And what if we put that all in pretty little pictures on cards and share that with humanity? And that's pretty much what happened, because when you look at the founders of what we look at as modern day tarot, you're looking at Pamela Coleman Smith, who did all the artistry for the cards and the deck. And she was, by the way, first of all, a witch, a lesbian, and a super rebel. By the way, love her. And then you look at Aleister Crowley, you look at like H.P. Blavatsky, you look at the Golden Dawn, you look at early philosophers of the 1900s, following into Paul Foster Case, Manly P. Hall. These are the founders of esoteric wisdom that did the work. They did the groundwork before the internet. They were traveling to Europe, traveling to Egypt, studying, asking questions from scholars, reading ancient texts, understanding how the ancients perceived realities that we didn't perceive yet. And this is how the tarot came to be. It didn't come to be just because someone thought it was fun and cute. This is a culmination of ancient history that has been documented, dedicated lifetimes of study, research, travel, passion, beauty, right? All that goes into it. So when you look at a tarot card, I don't care what card it is, we could pick up the card and look at the hierophant. We know this card has been studied. This card will go back to Thoth. Card will go back to ancient Egypt. This card will go back to ancient Sumeria if we want to dig into history, which is 8,000 years ago, before the Bible. So when we look into the history of how this came to be, this is a research project of how to become enlightened in a lifetime. And that's it, folks. From A to Z. How do you attain enlightenment through one physical incarnation while you're here on this planet? And there's so many people that dedicated their lives to this study. So when we look at the tarot, you are not just reading a tarot card. You're not just looking at a picture and intuitively interpreting, although some readers do that, and that's totally fine to do. You are looking at and digging into history, science, education, ancient mystery schools, things that were lost in history that have been resurfaced, reintegrated into the consciousness of humanity because we need it to help us see beyond the paradigms that we were given. And so when we think about breaking paradigms and breaking rules and consciousness and expanding into different realms to be open to a tarot reading, we're looking at thousands of years of historical reference research, things that we could cultivate, that we could, record, and we could transpose onto a paradigm. And now we have 78 cards to work with, to do that with. And this is not something to take subtly. This is something to take with a reverence, like, whoa, I will bow down to the people that came before me because I don't have the time to travel to all those places and do that research. Thank you for doing it for me. I will read about it. I will integrate that into my studies, and I will bring it into the modern day consciousness because that's where I am on this plane.
And what I was gonna add something to what she was saying. It's past. It's from what I've seen close up. It's even past the cards. The cards are a guide.
Yes.
To that energy and to that intuitive feelings and things that you get from the cards. I mean, it's way farther than pictures.
Well, and it's also being aware sometimes that maybe things are a little bit different than what was known. I kind of apply with Jesus, that most people associate him with being on the other side. He died for our sins. I think he came back 3 days later.
Yeah, 3 days. Yeah.
I know, sound like that. But yet, for the rest of his life, one, how old was he when he died? Two, who was he learning from? Because he was doing traveling as well. Three is, what if there's a potential that there is family lineage from his own energy? Again, just something to think about, but that's why I always say a lot of people leave him on the other side because he died for our sins. And I'm like, he came back 3 days later. Notice how more than likely most people don't even know the life existed or how he even died again with this connection, because it was being put in an example to go, don't get too spiritual.
Yeah.
And so people didn't necessarily open up to their own spiritual awareness. They were more used to, okay, so what are you going to tell me? What is this? Okay, thank you. Great. Because it is great that a lot of people are doing their homework, but also the ability to at least be open sometimes to maybe see things a little differently. Because not everyone's able to go, oh, I didn't think about that with Jesus thing, because he did come back from what they said, but yet you don't hear anything else about the rest of his life. To me, the rest of his life and existence on this planet. Who did he learn from? Where did he learn? All many other things. And it's like, this is the Christ consciousness. I used to think it was Mr. Christ, Jesus Christ. It's like, no, it's, the Christ, Jesus, the Christed one. And so in my own awareness, with my own firsthand experience, that's all I can speak about. But when I had my unification, that spiritual experience at 5 years old, holy moly, it allowed me to put some of the pieces together and maybe see it a little bit differently from those other pieces that were being placed in the bigger picture.
Did you ever, I mean, we'll have a conversation one of these days, but did you ever see Jesus Christ in dreams?
Not in dreams, in conscious existence and awareness.
And I've never seen it in dreams either, but I've had experience with him in meditation.
Remember how I told you, and I've said it many times now on the show, and that, like, I had an outer body thing. I had to come back and ask Jamie, what is this?
Yeah.
Because I had no idea. You know what I mean? When you can smell the water in the Nile, and you can feel sand in your hand, and you can put your hand on rock, because I was at the bottom of the pyramid, at the time. In the same area, another time, another thing, I saw similar, not exactly like the pictures that you see all over the place of Jesus Christ. It wasn't the same kind of picture. It was a guy that identified himself as Jesus, or no, the son of the something of the Father. He said, and I was like, dude, it was like there. I mean, sort of, kind of, in the same realm, kind of, sort of, in the picture. But let's face it, any of the pictures that you see today is someone's thoughts of what somebody or something should have looked like.
Or their interpretation of how they perceive. Yes.
And what I saw was not what you see in the picture. Close.
Right.
But when you were there, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What the iconography of Jesus was actually based off of a prince in Europe in the Middle Ages. I mean, so we're looking at like someone's perception of, hey, this would make he's attractive. He'd make a good looking Jesus. We'll make lots of pictures of him, and every Jesus after that will look like this. And that really is what happened.
And, it's the old adage, I stand and knock on everyone's door equally, going, what if it's the door of consciousness? What if it's the one, if we open up that conscious awareness, he'll be able to share with us, not push us, share.
It sounds good to me. It's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. Now, if you've been there and did that, it's like, hey, like when I die, I already know what's on the other side. I was there once.
Yeah. You had that firsthand experience, and notice. So I asked, how solid was that? And you're like, it was solid. I could feel the same. Each dimension has its own vibratory rate and seems just as solid as this third dimension. And as I always say, nothing's solid. It's all energy, light, frequencies, and vibrations. I will just say, again, with the technology that we're working on and with scientists as well, that 2025, this year, we roll out the first phase of the soul phone. It will be referred to as the soul switch. And then you get into text and typing, and then audio, and then visual, and then molecular transference, which is basically teleportation. So it's like, help humanity to help itself. Let's get scientific methodology, systematized, categorized, repeated. All right, maybe there's something to that. There's spiritual stuff. I'm like, yeah, maybe, something to think about. I don't claim to know everything. Like anyone claiming to know everything is ignorant. I do know that the more I know. I don't know nothing, man, but I'll share my perspective. When you can be humble to go, what is the question? Has anyone even really thought about it? Yeah, that's the point. The energy that I was going to share is, as Maggie's sitting here, she's looking at you, but more than likely, what are you doing? Infusing his soul print of energy and information.
Right.
And this is at a distance, yet she's able to connect with your soul print energy, the emanation, the radiance, whatever you want to call it, in this connection. And then it speaks to her through her ability to read the cards about the person who a lot of times she maybe doesn't even know. Except she's very much aware of you, which is good. But,
Yeah, she connects with me. It might curl up the cards.
It did.
I'm serious. I'm
but
hot.
see, that's the point. Life's relative.
Yeah.
That which is in harmony with what we want is good. That which isn't is bad. I'm like, yeah, well, okay. So you got a vantage point from that. Now, can you do the best you can to stay on the positive channel more so than the negative? Just not so easy for most people.
And while we're talking about this, Ned, if anybody has any questions and you're listening to the show for any reason, Ned, write me at bobcharlesshow@live.com or text me at 863-222-4199. I want to know what people out there are thinking. They listen to it the next day, and then I'll get a couple of emails, but it won't be, it doesn't, people don't, I don't know what it is. It's crazy because, like, if I get emails, I might get one or two in it in the morning. That's about it. Great show, blah, 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 blah. A week later, that's where I get the questions. It takes about 3 or 4 days, at least. And
Sometimes it takes a while to settle in.
Gee, I heard that on that show. I wonder what that guy thinks about it, blah, blah, blah. And then I get an email. So, I mean, there are more, or at least from what I'm seeing and feeling, there's more minds opening up for some reason. I don't know what the reason is. That
I think consciousness for this planet.
I'm a virgin when it comes to that kind of stuff. But it's
Because
like when you see people actually asking relative questions to subjects that are today problems, or something that they want to know about now, not later. It's not they're not throwing something out there. They're throwing it at me or you or whatever. See?
I heard.
But, I'm serious. I mean, these are things that I appreciate more than anything, that people can actually be honest with themselves and say, I believe that, or I feel like, or I would like to do this, or am I capable of doing this, or what's going to happen to me next week? All these questions are good questions, and they all should be addressed in one way or another. But a lot of people don't understand that they can actually address their own question. I tell them that all the time.
All they have to do is open up and pay attention.
And it's the old adage, if you have the question, you have the answer already within. And so a lot of like psychic readers, tarot readers, all the readers, we're going to just validate what you feel because you already feel it, or else you wouldn't be asking the question, and it is literally about reading the energy of the question answer relationship that's already present in the field of consciousness when that question's being asked.
Well, and a lot of people want to be able to test the waters to go, okay, what is them their cards picking up? What's happening? Because when she's able to read those vibrations of information, each card has its own energy, but it can literally speak to your soul print. And that's when people start opening up a little bit more to go, that wasn't so scary. I'm like, good, perfect. And just open up, just see what's comfortable for you. That's the point. It's just another tool to read energy.
Also, people can't be afraid of something that might not, maybe they don't want to hear something.
Yeah, but give them the liberty to feel the fear, because in that fear, they do not feel comfortable. Nobody feels comfortable in fear. And sometimes that vibration is shifting your consciousness because it's uncomfortable. And so even though we want everything to be light and love, we want everything to be fruit and rainbows and chocolate bunnies or whatever else we might want, right, in this beautiful world, the fear itself that we experience as humans will motivate us to grow. It'll motivate us to ask different questions, to explore different arenas of ourself that we have never explored before. And so when we think about the earth as a planet of a school to learn soul lessons, when we do feel the vibration of fear, we know that that could be the opposite pole of what love is, or what the highest vibration is. And on some level, we are seeing that pole. We're registering that it doesn't have to be that way. We're registering that we shouldn't feel afraid, or this is an uncomfortable feeling. I wish I could have the opposite pole. And so sometimes when we do feel those frustrations of fear, anger, and what we would call lower vibrations of energy, they are teaching us a flip side of the coin that we're already tuned into, but we haven't allowed ourselves to see the flip side yet. We haven't experienced that. And so those questions that arise from fear or tragedy or grief or remorse or any of what we would anger, anything that we would consider not as high vibe, those expressions, those feelings are still the guideposts for you while you're here to find love, to find a high vibe, and to heal whatever is not in that vibration you want it to be, because nothing feels good when it's afraid. Nothing does. That's why we call it fear. We don't like it.
But on average, the average human only lets so much love, happiness, and success into their lives till they bring themselves right back down to where they used to be. And a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times people get interested in the scary movies and all the adrenaline rushing stuff because they're used to that vibration. If you can have that experience without necessarily going through it, but just be aware of it entertainingly, Oh, okay. Good. I'm not
But
alone.
if you can take your deepest nightmare and be like, well, what would be the deepest fantasy in the opposition of that? You would have the hero or the heroine that would conquer the fear. And this is literally what we see in all the fantasy and sci-fi fiction that's been written the last 1,000 years, is that someone's going to come along and rescue. That high pole is still in existence in reality. Something is still going to conquer that darkness or that fear. And so when we think about that, we do have to have a lot of grace and compassion for ourselves. It's okay to feel what you feel. You can't control that. If you feel fear, that's honest. Be honest with yourself. And then invite the information, invite the love, invite the compassion, invite things that heal that, to teach you the way through it. That's a beautiful place to be. And I think honestly, with humanity, we have so much that we're going through right now. We really do. We have a big project happening on our planet, and it's happening in front of our eyes, whether it's natural disasters, whether it is a consciousness shift, whether it is someone passing and trying to figure out what life is without that person. It doesn't matter what you're individually experiencing. We are all going through a shift of consciousness. And you're right, Jamie, this tipping point of consciousness is teaching us how to find the opposite pole that we've been taught. We've been taught to find the negative, to dwell in the societal norms and the paradigms that exist, but we really are shifting into something beautiful and great. So think about what would be the hero or the heroine of that story to conquer the fear, and realize you are that. That energy is inside of you. If you can imagine it, it is you.
I said that in the pre-sub show with the shift. I mean, it's like it's out there. It's happening. It's something that was originally. I think I got that from 2010. I think that's how far back I went to identify that. And we said there was going to be a shift, but we were also talking about the coming of 2012 that was coming.
Yeah.
So
there was consciousness for that.
What's really fascinating about that, Bob, is that my co-host of Goddess Witchroom, April, we were talking about, we think 2012 actually shifted the consciousness. It's just taking us this long to catch up to it.
Right. See, that's what we were talking about in 2010, or it was right on the cusp of 2011.
Right.
I found the show, and when I'm thinking about this thing, I'm saying to myself, damn, we were good. It was like, wow,
Yeah.
But see, when we came to 2012, like you're talking about the shift, that shift was we cannot fathom how large that really, really was. I mean, that was like a car in reverse at 60 miles an hour.
And honestly, what happened, it reminded me of Y2K, when, the year 2000 is going to hit, all the internet's going to shut down. And then literally that is what happened in 2012. We're all like, well, the world didn't end again. So here we go. And we just kept plugging along. Yet there was some shift of consciousness that did exist, that did have an effect. But when we think about bigger timelines and bigger throes of a wave that goes way out of the ocean before it comes back, we're thinking about a larger scale. Now that consciousness is rolling back up onto the shore, rolling from the depths of the abyss that it had to go to figure out a 12-year cycle of some kind. Mm-hmm. And honestly, what planet travels in 12 years? Jupiter. And Jupiter right now is in Taurus. It's in retrograde. I'm sorry. Jupiter is in Gemini right now. It's in retrograde, but in 2025, it's going to enter Cancer. And so we do have a 12-year shift of consciousness that is going to bring all of those feelings back from 2012. And on top of that, Saturn's going to be, there's a lot of outer planets that are going to be shifting signs in 2025 that are going to shift consciousness of humanity. Some of them have already stepped a toe in and stepped out, but most of them are going to actually, these outer planets are going to shift signs. Pluto's now in Aquarius, so that shift is solid in motion that started last year, and it really shifted a lot of things. But we're going to see Jupiter entering into Cancer. We're going to see Saturn entering into Aries, which is huge. That starts a whole 29 and a half, 30-year cycle that we could go into. So think about these cycles, these planetary cycles. Their orbits are, 10, 15, 18, 20, 30 years long.
Nibiru is a very real planet. Down the road, they're going to come. Well, we discovered a world that we didn't know existed. I guess the radiant, the way it goes, is way out there. We didn't realize. And sometimes things have to come full circle to be registered in the consciousness. It has to experience all the different signs of the zodiac or all the different expressions of this energy to come back around and be like, okay, did you learn? Are you ready now? Because that is what the tipping point of consciousness right now is introducing. And I'm wondering how much Jupiter has an effect, because it has been 12 years later. And that is the cycle of Jupiter, And then there's other questions on the table always. We could look at 19-year cycles of the nodes. We could look at a bunch of different things astrologically. But I feel like we negate things if it's not immediate. Like humanity wants okay, 2012 happened. The end of the world didn't happen. Moving on, forgetting about that. But no, some kind of consciousness did shift that we're catching up to now, that is shifted people for the last 12 years to create that tipping point of consciousness. It did happen. It just took longer than our human brains wanted it to, because we're used to immediate gratification.
How about the other side of that, while you're on that subject and that swap of things? How about the good that became bad and the bad that became good? I mean, right now, in this particular time, we've got so much stuff. People that were good that went bad. Or the other way around. People that bad, all of a sudden they're groveling. Oh my God, I'm such a good person. Oh my God. I'm serious. I mean, I'm listening to these things, and it's like a lot of switches and things all over, which is kind of crazy. It scares me in a way, because like there's so many things. Shut up. So many things going on. Hold on. Took care of you. Anyway, there's so many things that are going on that we're just understanding or beginning to understand, which is really, it sounds kind of weird, but it's true. Things that happened a long time ago, we're just understanding now, even if it's the bad going to the good or the good going to the bad. We understand why it went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need that time, even though it's an illusion. We need the breath of life through life experience to allow that consciousness to settle, because think about a wave that crashes onto the beach. It crashes, but what does it do to all the sand? How long does it take that sand to find a new existence, right? It might have been a sandcastle that just gets washed out. How long does that take? And will it ever be the sandcastle again? And what does that mean for the sand when it's disintegrating and shifting? And then the next tide comes in, the next wave comes in, it keeps shifting. We are that level of consciousness. When we think about all the humans on the earth being little grains of sand and a wave washing over us, we're trying to keep up and catch up to waves of cosmic consciousness that wash over us. And it's not easy, because it happens over and over and over again. And the different planets and the different systems, the different energy influxes, whether they're a social event that we go out and experience in our everyday life, or whether it's a full moon, or who cares what it is impacting us over and over and over again. And how often do we sit and be like, I need to settle in this. I need to find where my sandcastle is. Does it even exist anymore? Who am I without everything that was around me before? We don't take the time anymore. So consciously, energetically, take a deep breath through all of these moments, because wave after wave after wave, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be the first to say this on your show, Bob, we are going to experience waves of consciousness that hit our planet at a faster rate with more potency, more energy, more potential of shifting consciousness than we've ever seen. And that'll be true for the next 12 years. I guarantee you this is going to happen. And we need to sit with ourselves every moment, breathing into that and feeling the minute shifts that are happening in consciousness if we can. If not, we're going to look back and be like, well, I just got mowed over by that lawnmower. What the heck happened?
Yeah.
You know?
I ain't gonna do that one again.
Yeah. And it's demanding everyone in humanity, it's demanding us to be very aware of how we feel and aware of what we're feeling energetically and aware there's a lot coming at us right now because we are meant to expand consciously and to grow at such a rapid pace. And I don't know if humanity has ever experienced it quite like this, probably never quite like this, maybe in other phases and other shifts of paradigms, whether it be the shift from Lemuria to a different paradigm, to Atlantis to a different paradigm, to Sumeria, to Egyptian, to Christianity, Greek, and then Christianity. I mean, like, we've seen shifts that carry us through, right? Historically, we can mark those, but consciously right now, there's a speeding up phase and there is an attunement phase. And when we can attune to rhythms, to feelings, even if we can't consciously grasp them, understand them, just say, okay, I don't know what I felt, but I did feel that. And I will register that feeling and open space for that consciously for me to grow into who I am as a soul. If we could do just that, we are ahead of the game.
And maybe being able to get a different perspective on things, because, I playfully asked the question to go, now, when Jesus was crucified, was that only for our sins up to that moment? Or is that continued as a continuum? Where are we at with that?
Or is it what they told you afterwards because they thought they knew best?
And
that's another option. What's that?
I
mean, seriously.
Plus, in the quantum physics, I believe you've probably heard that a choice creates a whole new universe. What if this universe is one of them? The Big Bang, out of nothing comes the whole. Yeah. What if it was that easy that it created a whole new universe, and it's just as real to us and the grandness of this universe when it's truly fairly limited. My own firsthand experience, that's all I can speak about, but holy cow.
Well,
and in doing
to this time, right now, everything you're saying about it, we went through 4 years, and then the last 4 years, and then Christmas, and now New Year's, and you see how things are changing already? He's on the right track all the way. I mean, it's strange, really, really true. I mean, things were dark.
Yeah.
Dark, slow, empty, silent.
Fear is a big motivator and demotivator, depending on how they present it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's that kind. That for me, I always say, I don't know nothing from nobody. But in that, this aspect of, if you think a certain way, it's going to get you in that challenging circumstance, until possibly the person can hear something maybe as a slightly different approach to the same end result. Because then it becomes, the old adage, keep the same approach and expect a different end result is insanity. Right. But also, what if these dynamics of the scientific community, systematized, categorized, and all that, is starting to validate a lot of the ancient esoteric energies, like we're eternal and other universes. And as I always share, to me, I believe that they found that humans are basically energy, vibrational light beings. And with that definition of being energy in quantum physics, they found that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. But then I said, but wait a minute, that means in a very practical scientific methodology that we're eternal and we have always been, and yet they perceive this universe has only been here 14.8 billion years. May not be from this universe, kind of thing. And it's that intent, which is a beautiful dynamic, but most people perceive that it's all about the intent. And as I share, that for me, that most of my life I would do this: universe, keep me protected, keep me protected, keep me protected, because I felt I needed to be kept protected from oddball energies. And after many years, she was like, Jamie, you have the right intent. However, if you keep asking the universe to keep you protected, right, it will continue to bring you more circumstances to keep protected about. And I'm like, what the flag nog? What am I supposed to do? I need to be kept protected. And his response, how about rather than ask for protection, you give gratitude for safety? And I thought, like semantics, playing on words for me. But when I put it to the test and I got my own result, that's all I could speak about. But it's also that dynamic that I'm jumping over into another lane, and that is the scientific methodology of manipulation. Because for a little while, the powers that be, the wealthy, know how to connect on the conscious and subconscious levels of awareness. Because as I say, I believe for a little while during that COVID thing, it was always being said, you must stay 6 feet apart. And it's like, really, exactly 6 feet is it? Wait, there's something that's always been referred to as 6 feet under. So yeah, didn't even realize until it was pointed out. Again, I'm just like,
or if you're at 5 foot, let me see, 5 foot, say 9 inches or something. I'm gonna die. You know, like,
I didn't even think that. You know, I keep hearing Jimi Hendrix song in my head. Was it Castles of Sand? Castles Full of Sand. Do you remember that Jimi Hendrix song? Okay, so really good song. And I keep thinking about the sandcastle disintegrating on the beach and being like, well, where's your new castle? Like, I really feel like that's how displaced people are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where my castle is. I don't know where my home is. I don't know what is my heart speaking to me? And I think that is the biggest question on the table for people. And if you can breathe into the eternality of who you are, the soul, the vibration of purpose on this planet, of why you chose to be here, even if you don't have the answers to that, if you can just tune into that, it will give you a semblance of being your own castle, even if you're just one grain of sand.
And, playfully, people talk about the breath of life. And I always share the fact that, well, one, we live our entire life in one breath. For when we come in, we breathe in. And when we go out, we breathe out. The trick is to breathe, and you will live life, not just exist and survive, but live. And that's when we bring it to the surface of consciousness and become a little bit more aware of it, and then be able to share that and apply it into our reality as we perceive it to be around us. And it's that connection.
When I go, I'll be breathing both ways.
In and out.
I'm gonna be it's gonna be in, out, in, out, in, out. Yeah, oh yeah. I'm probably gonna kick. I ain't going nowhere. I mean, serious. I mean, can you believe this? I mean, like, at my little age or whatever, people at work, they go, you don't. The one girl that says to me, she says, my grandfather's 70 years old, and he walks very slow. He does things. So it is the whole thing. And he says, you're older, and he says, you run rings around us, and they're all like 20, 25, 30. In between that thing. And it's just somehow, some way, all of us were born in certain areas, or maybe it was the energy in that one energy. Let's face it, Abbott and Costello were born in the same hospital as I was. I mean, seriously, I'm in Patterson, New Jersey, man. But the idea of the thing is that you're only as old as you believe. And you really, really have to, I mean, not just like saying, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to believe when I'm 15, No, it doesn't work that way.
No, you got to actually work that way.
The thing that you should believe all the time is what you can and cannot do.
See, that belief system is good, but what you're really saying is, I hope it exists. My thing is you get enough of those experiences, you'll shift your belief system to a knowing system with confidence, not cockiness. Confidence when you can back it, cockiness when you can't.
Yeah. I mean, we are when we say, and we've said it on the show before, when we say I am, you are.
Anything you followed up with, yes.
You know,
Do not act as though I am and I will be. Yep. Not I was, not I will be, I am.
And people putting that in somebody's head, woo, that's, oh boy, I tell you, I have fun with that one.
Well, and it becomes dynamic of, we're not ignorant, but for me, in learning maybe a different approach to some of life's circumstances, because as I always share, for me, that I'm going to approach that problem and change the problem. And I kept getting similar circumstances, the very problems I was trying to change. And after many years, again, she was like, Jamie, you have the right intent. However, if you keep approaching the problem, you're only intensifying the problem. I'm like, what the flag nod? What am I supposed to do? I need to change the problem. And he's like, if that's your problem, create a solution. And again, I thought semantics, but when I was able to put this stuff to that's all I can speak about is me. But she has been very insightful. Oh yeah, he wouldn't be my master guide and I wouldn't be listening to him if there weren't accuracy with what, for me, from what he shared. Because I'm like, you know what? I've thought about that my whole life. And another thing that most people don't question is with the mediumship. In this case, notice how our loved ones on the other side, because we're ETs to everyone else, it's very relative, but when their loved ones come through in a mediumship reading, they'll tend to come through as to who they were in the most recent life. Right. We're eternal. What about other vehicles, other bodies? Because if they came in one of the other worlds that they're in, people are like, who the frick are you? So what is it? Familiarity and an ability to accept it, kind of thing, to me. So many questions.
I think spirit helps us out wherever they can.
Yeah,
things like
and
that.
they can't make us, but they can allow us. They can share it. They can't do it for us. They do it with us if we're even choosing to open up and listen or to feel that guidance.
The other side, they give us the how would you call it, a diving board. You know, whether you use it or not, it's up to you.
It's there. It's a tool. It's at your disposal. And how do you want to use that? You want to get all purdy and creative doing the diving with creativity, or are you just going to jump off like the side of a cliff, or what the? So, you know, it's that one tool that has a variety of different applications that can really make a difference in your life if you put it to the test.
You know, one of the things in that too, I want to bring up here, because you two guys are definitely on the right thing in that. We got it. We're way over time too, and they're going to get mad at me. But anyway. The thing is, we are entering an area where things are being discovered, being known, things that have been buried for 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 years, and all of a sudden they're going, oh, by the way, we found. Yeah, well, all of a sudden everybody's finding everything all at the same time. And you were just talking about the 2012 and the things that are changing. It's happening right now. It's happening. And the thing is, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking it's going to go on for about 2 years.
So what we're looking at right now is Pluto in Aquarius. That's exposing things that have been hidden and transforming it. That's going to last for the next 20 years.
20 years? I had to do right.
I think eventually we'll get used to the Aquarian vibe of it. But when you're at a planet that just enters into the first degree of Aquarius, which Pluto is at 1 degree of Aquarius today, and it will be and has been for a long time. It moves very slow. You're looking at but no, we saw Pluto enter Aquarius last year, for a few months, and then slip back into Capricorn during the election for about 3 months, and then come back into Aquarius. But we have been seeing that reflection of Aquarian energy is about the consciousness of humanity. It's group consciousness, it's cosmic consciousness. And Pluto will reveal things that have been hidden, things that need to be exposed, things that have truth behind it. And it's all emerging now. So at the very early degrees of a sign, when a big planet moves into a sign, is the most profound aspects of like, whoa, I didn't know about that. That was super hidden. And then all of a sudden, all this truth is revealed, especially in Aquarian energy, because it's a mental energy. It's what we know. And it helps us connect to each other on a really cool humanitarian vibe. You know, it is the consciousness of the collective as well, the group energy. And so anything that has been hidden from humanity is really being revealed. So we'll see the beginnings of this. And especially, you're right, Bob, for 2 years, we're going to see the most profound aspects. It will be in Aquarius for 20 years, but we'll see the most profound when it's in the early degrees of that.
One, I always thought it was like 2 years, Nick, because like everything seems to be coming out of the ground all of a sudden. You know, it's like discover this, discover that, discover this. All of a sudden, somebody turns around and said, "Well, you know, we've been able to cancel, you know, cure cancer for years and years and everything." And it's like, I want to smack somebody in the head saying, "You dope." You know,
And Aquarius energy will rule inventions, electronics, AI, social media. It rules all of those. Pluto rules death, destruction, transformation, and revealing truth. And so you're going to see a lot of things shift in the next few years. Absolutely.
Okay, now you were going to do a reading for me, but we don't. Are you really? Well, she's getting.
Okay, can she just do a quick one?
If she can do a quickie.
What's my time frame for a quickie so I know what to do?
10 minutes.
Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is, do we want this to be for the next year ahead, like a yearly type of reading?
I don't know.
Or do we want it just to be in the right here, right now? Okay, we're going to do right here, right now. We're going to do 5 cards. We'll take 10 minutes with this. All right, let's see what we got, Bob.
If you did by next year, and then I would say,
no, don't make it last that long. No, do that. No. Okay, cool. We'll just do for here right now.
But notice as she's shuffling, she's just talking, but she's absorbing your energy into these cards to let them speak to you about some of what your thought processes might be creating in your life experience.
I feel so sorry for those cards.
Alrighty. So first and foremost, we have the 5 of Cups as a focus. The 5 of Cups is about a shift of consciousness, but it's also helping you rediscover your wellspring of emotional support within. So this is literally where you have to go within your own being, find the cup that is the fullest of love and reside there, because there's a lot of letting go energy on an emotional level that's happening right now for you. There's a huge shift of consciousness that helps you with, and that will be a part of that, but it hurts, it stings. You're like, why? And you do have the 2 of Cups as an energy to use. And that is the romantic love card. So this, you can just read into this however you choose to. It's also the emotional balance. 1, you know how to feel emotionally balanced in your life. It's an energy you already have within you. You're going to need to exercise that emotional balance as much as you can and feed your own and fill your own cup of self-love with the 5 of Cups going through this.
And remember,
do not
if your
look
cup of
for
life
it.
is full, get a bigger cup.
There you go. And don't look for it without, look for it within. Now you're building on the Devil, which is awesome. A lot of issues have arisen in your life. You've got shiitake mushrooms right here in your eyeballs, and you're like, whoa, hi, right? So, but you're aware of this because it's something you're building on. You're aware of places where you've given your power away, places that are challenging you, places that feel like you might be stuck or controlled in certain situations, okay? Now, the trick with the Devil is always to identify where you give your power away, but more importantly, why. And you've already done that because this isn't a past position. You know where, why, what you're afraid of. You know where you, in the past, you may have given power away, but that leads straight into the Tower card. The Devil is 15, the Tower is 16. Okay, so you're moving from understanding why this is happening to, holy shiitake mushrooms, this is happening. Who am I when the dust settles? Because right now you're being thrown out of a comfort zone. And if this does involve a romantic situation, because we have the 2 of Cups here, I can't ignore that. But if it does involve that, you're like, okay, so I'm coming out of something that I thought was going to be solid and strengthening and part of my psyche, and yet it's not. And so there is a shift of consciousness that's happening between the Tower and the Five of Cups. It is a psychic 2x4 moment. You're getting slapped upside the head. You're saying, wake up, find the wellspring within. You've got this. You'll be okay. But you don't have the same security zone that you thought you had to settle into and rely on, because the Tower no longer exists. It's been struck by lightning. It's crumbling down. You're falling out of it. You're naked. You're going to see the world in many different ways. And the trick here is to be your authentic self in that. Now, this didn't come as a surprise because the devil precurses this. You know, you knew what the problem was. You knew there was issues. You knew where your issues were, where your fear was, where your paradigms led. So now you have to have a lot of courage. You have to have a lot of strength. This is a rapid growth time for you, rapid growth of consciousness, but also settling more into the love of self, more into the emotional balance point. What you get out of this is the Knight of Cups, which is going to be a connection to the higher self and integrating new consciousness. Whatever's happening in your life is happening to help you connect more to an elevated consciousness, a consciousness that is more about your own being, and a shifting of consciousness that can really support you emotionally, consciously, in a way that really serves your soul going forward. And when that couples with the higher self, with the Knight of Cups outcome, there'll just be a lot of integration of that consciousness to happen. Any questions?
Excuse me. I'm listening to all this. I'm going, yeah, okay, yeah. 6 of one, half of the other. I mean, she's so on, it's ridiculous. I mean, seriously. I mean, I would recommend her to anyone.
That's when it gets real. Moves from good guesswork to maybe she's reading energy. Is that what they call it?
Something like that.
The thing, these cards do have an energy signature to each and every one of them. And, when I give a reading, I let you read into your own life situations. I don't call your bullshit out on the table because it's not important to me. What's important to you is how can you navigate this time of rapid growth and change and expanding consciousness, and really having to return into a deeper wellspring within you, because it's not existing where it once was. And you know that. You absolutely know that. And that is the biggest piece for you right now, is to know that you are integrating this, you are moving through this. There is a lot of change. There is a lot of instability. There is a lot of, didn't see that one coming, because the Tower is unexpected. Expect the unexpected. You're not going to know what to expect, when to expect it, how to expect it, yet you're meant to move through that. You're meant to see and consciously attune yourself to that, so it can become powerful to you and an empowerment for you instead of a disempowerment. So just know that.
So I am an alien. Okie dokie.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We've already done that.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for the reading, because I mean, there's nothing that you did say that's not true. I mean, in one way or another, you know what I mean? As far as the strength of moving slow and everything else, I never believed, maybe it was parents, could have been, growing up. There's no block, there's no wall in front of anything you do. You can walk through any wall you want to, just by thinking you can do something, or thinking that, whatever's going on or whatever else can be solved, can be finished, and then go on. In fact, we even said this in the beginning of the conversation, and it was crazy, but absolutely true. And so you nailed it.
Thank you.
Not bad. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, we got to get out of here, and I'm hoping. By the way, before you do that, I thank you, and I like her. Anyway, I'm only kidding. I do.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, what I was going to say was, where can we get in touch with you guys? How?
Jamie.net, MaggieClark.net. Check it
And
out.
we're here to be of service
Easy
in any
peasy,
way. We
lemon
want to help
squeezy.
you to help yourself. Empowerment, not enablement.
There you go. And I'm serious. I mean, what people are watching when they watch this, wherever they watch it or listen to it, they have to actually realize one thing. You are the one that helps you. These people just help.
That's it. We're just the information. You heal yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
So many people that believe, they're like, if I go to a psychic, the psychic's going to tell me what I have to do. I said, no. They don't do that. Well, and the same thing with the cards. The cards, they're going to tell me that the card said I have to do this. I said, no. You don't get it. I said, you understand. You listen, you understand, you apply it to yourself, and you change you. Nobody can change you but you. Ta-da.
Amen to that.
Wonderful. Yeah.
I mean, I say that publicly, and then people look at me like sideways, like, huh? So don't worry about it. Soon, one of these days, they'll get it.
Keep planting those seeds of consciousness.
That's all you can do. Not push it, but share it. And that's when the person's a little bit more open, going, okay, it's not everything or nothing. That's just one way. Oh, that's just one way. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we have so good. And you know what? Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Jamie and Maggie Clark on this show because we love them. So it's about time you love them. Don't forget, you can write to Bob Charles Show at live.com. I will give you their addresses, their things, their email addresses, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I'm terrible. See, they're getting me already, and I'm not even off the air yet. Meanwhile, beautiful. Thank you very much.